Revealed how I chose my freedom over 480K. An incredible journey of self-discovery and love. Jake, a 32-year-old mechanic in Elmwood, stood in his small garage, heart pounding. The offer lay crumpled in his pocket, a whisper of a life that promised 480K. He glanced at Emma, his 8-year-old daughter, her laughter bubbling as she danced across the living room floor. She was the sunshine in his world, and the thought of uprooting her shattered his heart. Could he really chase this dream and leave behind her plans to become a ballerina? Every Sunday resonated with laughter and home-cooked meals. His mom's famous apple pie was always the star. Memories flooded him, the sticky summer afternoons, bike rides, the smell of cut grass. The allure of that paycheck turned into an odyssey of mixed feelings and a relentless quest for approval. His father's voice echoed in his mind. "Hard work pays off, son." It held a heavy truth, a weight he carried daily. But was the American dream worth tearing apart the simple magic they had together? Around town, whispers swept through Elmwood like a wild wind. Friends turned strangers, discussions heated with resentment toward those who let ambition overshadow roots. The recent scandal about the local business owner ignited the flames of distrust and envy. Jake felt the tightness in his chest gnawing at him as he struggled between loyalty to family and the privileges that came with success. The stakes had never been higher. Before he could find clarity, panic gripped him. His phone rang with an urgency he'd never known. "Jake, it's your father. He's in the hospital." The oxygen in his lungs felt stolen. Rushing to the hospital, each turn of the wheel was heavy with doubt. What if he lost him? What if this job shattered their bond, already so fragile from the weight of expectation? His heart raced, memories of his father's strength flickering like a candle in the wind. Now in the sterile hospital room, Jake faced the man who taught him grit, the man whose sacrifices shaped his life. The beeping machines buzzed around him, a stark reminder of life's fragility. "Jake," his father softly whispered, eyes full of wisdom and weariness. A knot formed in Jake's throat where hope and despair clashed. This was the legacy he needed to honor, but also the life he wanted to protect for Emma. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The doctor's sudden entry shattered the still air. "We have results," he stated, and Jake's heart sank. No longer could he think only of himself. He realized he was not just making choices regarding money, but feelers which would ripple through Emma's future. The very essence of family was at stake, the choice between ambition and love beckoning like a daunting cliff. As Jake stood there, his emotions coiled tighter, longing for clarity amid chaos. His father's frail form lay before him, embodying the sacrifice he'd grown up revering. Would he chase the silk-threaded dreams of wealth, or stay rooted in the love that cradled him? Time raced, pushing against his heartbeat as he faced the ultimate question. Could he handle the freedom when it meant leaving behind the heart and soul of who he was? A moment of truth loomed, waiting just beyond the hospital door. Jake felt the air thicken as the doctor's eyes searched his, conveying a gravity that made his heart pulse faster. What would that look like, a life shaped by such weighty decisions? It was an unbearable thought. The doctor cleared his throat. "Your father has a serious condition," he began, and Jake clenched his fists. "We need to discuss treatment options." Each word sliced through Jake, a stark reminder of how fragile life could be. His father's fragile state, once strong and steady, was now a shaky foundation. "What does that mean?" Jake's voice came out broken, the calm facade cracking under pressure. The doctor explained, listing complicated terms that felt like a foreign language. Jake stared at his father, who managed a weak smile. "Hey, I'm not going anywhere just yet. Don't lose hope," he encouraged in a raspy voice. It was the same voice that had read bedtime stories, that had called him out to fix things under the hood, inspiring confidence in Jake's own hands. But the shadows of doubt clouded his mind. Every treatment decision weighed heavily. He couldn't do this alone, and as he glanced around the sterile room, he wished for Emma's small hand to squeeze his, anchoring him to the beauty of the life they shared. "I need a minute," he mumbled, stepping out into the dimly lit hallway. The stark walls felt suffocating, pressing in with a weight he hadn't anticipated. He leaned against the cool surface, trying to breathe. How could he chase the freedom of financial success if it meant abandoning the most important person in his life? The offer loomed in his pocket like a snake waiting to strike. Each choice felt impossible, stinging his conscience. Did he dare to upset the family balance for a fleeting dream? His thoughts were interrupted by a voice he recognized, but it took him a moment to locate its source. Jake? It was Hannah, his childhood friend, now a doctor herself, confidence radiating from her. "Hey," he forced a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Your dad, he'll fight this. He's strong," she reassured him, but Jake could feel her sympathy, the way her brow furrowed in worry. "You've got a big decision to make, don't you?" The truth hit him hard. She didn't just mean his father's health, she meant the crossroads of his life. The four walls of the hospital room echoed with those choices. "I just don't know what to do," Jake admitted, rubbing his temples. "Do I stay and fight for my family, or chase a dream that could pull me away?" Hannah stepped closer, her paralyzing truth piercing through. "You can have both if you make the right choices, but you need to follow your heart, not just what you think is expected." Jake's breath stilled. Could he really reconcile duty and ambition? He pondered how his father had worked tirelessly, not just for himself, but for the family unit, every long shift to carve out a better life. "Just remember, Jake," Hannah continued as she glanced down the hallway where other hospital staff hurried by, "success isn't just about money, it's about love, too." As she walked away, Jake was left contemplating the depth of her words. Sitting on the cold floor, he took his phone out and stared at that crumpled offer. Was it worth risking everything he cared about? He needed clarity. With pounding in his chest, he turned back toward his father's room. Each step felt heavy, laden with fear and determination. The moment of truth was about to arrive, but would his choices reveal the legacy he wanted to build, or tear apart the very fabric of his existence? The door swung open, revealing his father's tired smile. Jake took a deep breath, ready to confront whatever was to come. As he stepped inside, the weight of his decisions crashed into him like a wave. Suddenly he knew, changes and revelations were looming just on the horizon. Would he find the courage to face them? Jake took another deep breath, feeling the cool air of the room wash over him. His father's warm smile felt like a beacon, grounding and familiar, a flicker of faith in the midst of this storm. But the weight of unspoken words hung heavy between them, a chasm filled with fear and uncertainty. He could see it in his father's tired eyes, the knowledge of struggle and the spirit to fight. "Hey, champ," his dad whispered, gesturing for Jake to come closer. "What's on your mind?" How could he say it? The chaotic circus of thoughts tangled inside him, battling between loyalty to his dad and the call of ambition. "I just wanted to see if you're okay." His dad chuckled softly, though it quickly turned into a cough. "I'm hanging in there. You know me, a fighter." "Yeah, I know, but there's a lot going on, Dad. I don't want to let you down, or let myself down." he admitted, his voice trembling with the weight of the truth. "What do you mean?" His dad tilted his head, studying his son. The moment hung between them, swirling like the dust motes in the sunlight spilling through the window. "There's this job offer, Dad."
"A really good one," Jake stammered, struggling to catch his breath, as if the very act of saying it would change everything. "It could mean a lot for my future, but I don't know if it's the right time to explore it, with everything happening with you." His father released a long sigh, the kind that seemed to hold all the pain of the world. "Son, listen to me. Life is full of tough decisions. I've made plenty in my day, but I never regretted the ones that led me to fight for what matters, and you are what matters." Jake clenched his jaw, the weight of his father's words settling deep in his core. "But what if chasing this dream means leaving you behind? I can't do that. I can't watch you struggle on your own." "Jake," his dad said, reaching out with a shaking hand to grip his son's shoulder, "you are not abandoning me. You're living. That's what I want for you, to live your life fully. I'll fight through this, but I need you to be strong too. Make your choices out of love, not out of fear." The room felt suddenly smaller, the walls closing in, but Jake's heart pounded with something else: hope. "How can you say that? It's so easy for you to say. You're the one in the hospital bed." "Because I trust you. You'll make it work, and I'll be here cheering you on," he assured. "Family isn't just about being in the same room. It's about supporting each other, no matter where you are." Jake let the words wash over him. The flicker of fear surged toward clarity. "I can't believe you're able to be this strong right now." His father, with that familiar twinkle in his eye, smiled wide. "I've had a lifetime of practice, but it's not about me. It's about you following your passion. You deserve the chance to learn and grow." Tears welled in Jake's eyes. "I just want us to get through this together." "We will," his dad promised, squeezing his shoulder tighter. "Just remember, you're not alone in this. You never have to be." With a newfound sense of renewal, Jake wiped away a tear, realizing he didn't have to choose. He could embrace both love and ambition, two parts of the same journey. As he stepped back, feeling a weight lifted, the flicker of hope grew stronger. The path ahead still felt unclear, filled with undefined choices and shadows, but amidst it all was an unwavering belief in love. Jake made a silent vow his heart would guide him. He wanted to pick up the phone, to call Emma, to share this epiphany, but before he could act, the door creaked open. Jake's head snapped up to see Hannah again, her face a mix of joy and concern. "Could I speak to you a moment?" He felt a tug of apprehension, but also an urge to embrace this moment. "Sure, what's up?" Her eyes darted back to his father, a silent question hanging in the air. "Maybe we can talk about your options," she suggested, a determination in her voice that matched his. Jake nodded slowly, feeling the fire of new beginnings ignite. What else was out there waiting for him? As they stepped into the hallway together, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation would change everything. Would he find the courage to embrace his dreams while holding on to his family? Hannah guided Jake down the hallway, her pace quickening as they moved away from the somber atmosphere of the room. The clinical white walls and sterile smell faded behind them, making way for a world that felt a little freer. Jake's heart raced, his mind swirling with unanswered questions. "So, about the job," Hannah began, glancing sideways at him. "Yeah, it's a great opportunity, but—" He hesitated. "I've been juggling a lot. My dad, he needs me." Hannah nodded, understanding etched on her face. "I get it. But what if this is the chance you've been waiting for? You told me once that you felt stuck here. This could be your way to break out." Jake's chest tightened. "I know, but what if pursuing my dreams means leaving my family behind? I can't do that." "Your family wants what's best for you. Your dad already said it. He believes in you. Trust that." The words hit Jake like a jolt. How did Hannah always know what to say? "I guess I'm just terrified," he admitted, his vulnerability creeping into his tone. "What if I fail?
What if I take this leap and it all goes wrong? Life is about risks. Staying here out of fear isn't living. You're meant for more than this, and deep down, I think you know it too, she said, her eyes locked on his with an intensity that made his heart skip a beat. A warm wave of energy surged through him, pushing the doubts to the side. He took a deep breath. You're right. I want this. I want to follow my dreams. I just don't know how to balance it all. Hannah suddenly stopped, turning to face him fully. How about this? We make a plan, break it down, look at what it would take to pursue this and support your dad at the same time. Jake nodded, still feeling the weight of anxiety mixed with excitement. Making a plan felt possible, tangible even. Okay, where do we start? Let's think about the first steps. Look into the job's details again, see what the requirements are. Maybe we can find a way for you to manage the time between them, she suggested, her fingers tapping thoughtfully against her chin. A spark ignited in Jake's chest. Yeah, I can study during my off time at the hospital, and I could always find a way to care for him and still push forward. Exactly, Hannah clapped her hands together. You can do this. I'll help you figure it out. Just as hope began to bloom, a sudden urgency began to creep in. But what if I stumble? What if this is just wishful thinking? Jake's voice trembled. Every journey comes with bumps, but no journey is without its rewards. You have the guts to fight for what you want, and that counts for a lot. Their eyes locked, a moment charged with unspoken understanding. But what if I told you you could have both, she added softly, her expression shifting to one of encouraging warmth. Jake's heart paused. What do you mean? If you let yourself dream, you could also build a life that ties you to your family and still feeds your spirit. You don't have to choose one over the other. Maybe you'll discover something amazing along the way. Jake contemplated her words, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. It felt exhilarating, terrifying, but undeniably right. What if I choose both? What if I explore my ambitions while fighting for my dad? He mused aloud. Hannah smiled brightly, the sun breaking through the clouds. That's the spirit. Let's take that leap together. Suddenly, the door swung open behind them. Jake turned to see Emma standing there, her face flushed with excitement. Jake, I've been looking for you. I just got off the phone with a hiring manager. A rush of adrenaline shot through him. Jake's mind raced, questions swirling once more. What did this mean? How close was he to chasing his dreams? As he processed this new information, one thought lingered. Could he really embrace a future filled with both love and ambition? Embrace both? He whispered, uncertainty lingering in his voice. Just then, he caught Hannah's knowing smile. Could it be possible that everything he wanted was already on the horizon? As the mystery of the coming days unfolded, Jake felt the momentum building, and he was right on the edge, his heart racing with excitement and fear. What would Emma reveal? Was this the moment everything changed? Emma's eyes sparkled as she spoke, her excitement radiating from her like a beacon. Jake, they loved your resume. They want to schedule an interview as soon as possible. Can you believe it? His stomach flipped. Wait, what? An interview? Just like that? Yup, they're impressed with your work at the hospital and your volunteer stuff aside from that. You have skills they're looking for and they think you'd be a great fit. Emma's words were like a siren song, calling him into a realm of possibility. Hannah squeezed his arm, her smile wide. See? It's happening. This is it, Jake. Everything you've been dreaming about. Jake ran a hand through his hair, his heart racing. But what if they decide I'm not ready? What if I stumble in the interview? Dude, you're ready. Don't you know that? Emma was quick to reassure. You've been preparing for this moment your whole life. Just focus on being yourself. He nodded, absorbing their enthusiasm. Behind the butterflies in his stomach, something ignited inside him. Hope, excitement, a taste of the future he had longed for. Okay, let's do it, he said, determination edging into his voice. When's the interview? Emma beamed. Tomorrow at 10. You've got tonight to prepare, and I can help you with that. His mind flooded with a mix of emotions. Anticipation and anxiety swirled together like a whirlwind.
He wanted this, wanted it more than he had wanted anything in a long time. But could he make it all work with caring for his dad, too? "Jake, you've got this," Hannah said, her eyes reflecting a fierceness that calmed him. "Just think about what you want to say, and remember why you're doing this." Thoughts of his father rushed back in. I can't let him down." "He's proud of you, and this could be the thing that benefits both of you," Hannah encouraged. "Make a list. Outline your goals. Find the overlap between your dreams and your family's needs." Jake felt grounded by her words. If he truly wanted to embrace both worlds, now was the time to build that bridge. As they crafted a strategy together for the interview, a new energy filled the room. He felt like he was expanding, pushing the boundaries of what he thought was possible. Hannah's laughter, Emma's enthusiasm, they wove a safety net of support around him. "Okay, what's your strongest skill?" Emma prompted, leaning closer. "I guess I'm really good at connecting with people. I can read emotions pretty well." "Boom! That's perfect," Emma said, eyes sparkling like she discovered treasure. "Use that in your interview. Show them who you really are." With each prompt, Jake began to see the light at the end of the tunnel. He wasn't just another candidate. He was Jake, the compassionate caregiver with a vision for more. But just as the night wore on, so did the weight of his worries. "What if I screw it all up?" he asked, fear creeping in again. "Everyone feels that way," Hannah said gently. "But what you have to remember is this. The world needs more people who care. Just be true to yourself." The clock ticked away, and time slipped through his fingers. His excitement began to mingle with anxiety. Suddenly, he remembered something important. "Is my dad okay? What if he needs me tomorrow during the interview?" Hannah reached for her phone, scrolling quickly. "I can check in with him now. Let's make sure he's settled tonight. Then you can focus on yourself." In those moments of preparation and care, Jake felt something shift inside him. For so long, he thought he had to sacrifice one dream for the other. But what if, just maybe, he could blend both? As they finalized their plans and showered him with encouragement, Jake's heart thudded with the rhythm of hope and determination. The challenge ahead loomed large, but there was also promise shining just beyond it. What if he could walk into that interview fully and completely himself? And what if he learned that his journey was just beginning? As the sun began to set outside the window, casting warm hues across the room, Jake couldn't help but wonder, what lay beyond the door of that interview, and how would he embrace the chance to choose both his future and family? As dawn broke, a gentle light filled Jake's room, casting shadows that danced on the walls. The soft chirping of birds filtered through the open window. He blinked against the brightness, his heart racing again, not from anxiety, but anticipation. Today was the day. He took a deep breath and rolled out of bed, stretching his arms high. The nerves from last night lingered, but they transformed into a buzzing excitement. He could do this, not just for himself, but for his dad, too. In the small kitchen, the smell of freshly brewed coffee greeted him. Emma and Hannah were already at the table, maps of ideas and notes scattered before them, like a chaotic artist's palette. Their faces lit up as he entered. "Morning, superstar," Emma declared, raising her mug in a mock toast. "Feeling ready?" Jake grinned, despite the lingering uncertainty. "Ready as I'll ever be." "Let's go over the key points again," Hannah suggested, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "What will you bring to the table?" Jake thought for a moment, remembering the countless interactions he had had in the hospital, the laughter, the worries, and the little moments that had made a difference. "I want them to see that I'm someone who cares deeply, that I connect with people on a real level." "Exactly. You're not just a resume," Emma chimed in. "You're a storyteller. You have experiences that matter." As they practiced, the nerves began to fade, replaced by a growing reservoir of confidence. They ran through potential questions and answers, tweaking his responses until everything flowed naturally.
Each enthusiastic exchange built him up like the layers of a strong wall against his fears. "Okay, take a moment," Emma said, leaning back in her chair. "What do you want them to remember about you?" Jake closed his eyes and pictured it, the room, the people, the moment. "I want them to remember my passion for helping others, to show them that I can bring warmth and understanding to their team." "Perfect," Hannah said, smile widening. "You're gonna knock their socks off." But time was slipping away like sand through his fingers. With every passing minute, anxiety crawled back in. "What if my dad needs me?" The question slipped out before he could stop it. "We'll check in right before you leave, but you have to trust that he's okay," Emma reassured him gently. "This is your moment, Jake." He nodded slowly, but the worry gnawed at him. Just yesterday, his father had mentioned feeling dizzy while trying to rise from the couch. Could he risk being away during such a pivotal moment in his life? The clock ticked closer to the hour as they wrapped up their preparation. Each second weighed heavier as he slipped into his suit, a dark navy that made him feel both sharp and oddly vulnerable. "Jake, you look great," Emma said, her voice warm. "Now breathe. You got this." "Yeah, I just want to make him proud and not lose this chance," he whispered. The room fell silent, a brief moment suspended in time. The seriousness of this approaching interview hit him fully. The intersection of dreams and reality loomed. When his phone buzzed, he startled, snatching it from the table. A message from his dad. Jake opened it quickly, heart pounding. "Hey, buddy, just wanted you to know I'm good. Don't worry. Go shine." The weight on his chest eased as relief washed over him. Maybe he didn't have to choose between his dreams and family. Perhaps he could carry them both, just like he always had. "Time to go," Emma urged, glancing at the clock. As they reached the door, Jake felt a surge of optimism. He placed his hand on the knob, drawing a deep breath, ready to step into the unknown. But as he turned it, a thought struck him. What if this was just the beginning? What if this interview led him to a path he had never imagined? He pushed the door open, stepping into the light. What would await him on the other side? And what choices would he make that day that could change his life forever? As Jake stepped outside, the morning air wrapped around him like a warm hug. He squinted against the brightness, feeling the weight of potential on his shoulders. Emma and Hannah flanked him, their spirits high as they bounded toward the car. The sun was just right, casting long shadows across the pavement, and for a brief moment he simply enjoyed the light, like a promise of what to come. As the engine of the car hummed to life, Jake's thoughts drifted. He wondered about the faces he'd meet today, the people who might change his life. He felt a buzz of hope, but also a whisper of doubt. What if they didn't see what he had to offer? What if he wasn't enough? "Hey, you okay?" Emma's voice cut through his thoughts as she glanced over, concern etched on her face. "Yeah, just thinking," he replied, forcing a smile that felt both real and a bit shaky. "Thinking or overthinking?" Hannah teased, shooting him a playful wink. "Probably a little bit of both," he admitted, laughing softly. They arrived at the building where the interview was taking place, a modern glass structure that gleamed in the sunlight. As they stepped out of the car, the nerves began to claw back at him, scratching at the edges of his confidence. The sounds of the city felt amplified, the honking horns, the distant chatter, even the rustling leaves seemed louder than before. "Take a minute," Emma said, sensing his unease. "Just breathe. You've got this." She squeezed his arm, her touch grounding him. Jake nodded and took several deep breaths. He thought about his father's message again, a reminder that love carried him as much as his own dreams did. The echo of his father's encouragement washed over him like a wave. He carried his father's strength in his heart. Inside, the lobby was bustling with candidates, each one with their own hopes and dreams clutched in their hands like a lifeline. Jake's stomach twisted with anxiety as they approached the reception desk, where a woman with a sharp smile greeted them. "Can I help you?"
"Yes, I'm here for an interview," Jake said, his voice steady despite the flutter in his chest. "Name?" "Jake Lawson."
She glanced at her computer and smiled. "Ah, yes, right on time. They're expecting you. Just head through those doors." As he walked forward, Emma and Hannah gave him thumbs up from behind. Once the door swung shut behind him, the air felt thicker. The quiet suddenly wrapped around him, amplifying his heart's staccato beat. He was alone now. The room was minimalist, with a long table and a few people seated behind it, all looking at him with keen, observant eyes. Jake felt as though he was standing before a panel of judges, each with the power to shape his future. He straightened his back, pulling from the reservoir of strength that held hope and anxiety intertwined. "Jake, nice to meet you," one of the interviewers smiled, offering a firm handshake. "Thanks for having me," his voice slightly steadier now. As questions began to flow about his experiences and aspirations, Jake settled into a rhythm. With each answer, he shed layers of doubt, revealing the passion that drove him. His love for connecting with others fueled his words, causing them to come alive. He could see the interviewers leaning in, intrigued. But then, the questions shifted. One interviewer leaned forward, a purposeful glint in his eye. "Jake, what would you do if this job conflicted with your personal life? If you had to choose between your dreams and your family?" The question slammed into him like a brick wall. It hung heavy in the air, the enormity of it stinging his chest. The truth blurted out before he could rabbit hole into doubt. "I believe in balance. My family is my anchor. If it ever came down to it, I can't forget where I came from or who I care about." He felt his heartbeat echo in the silence that followed. There was a pause, and he could read the surprise on their faces. "Thank you, Jake," one of them said, pensively. As the interview wrapped up, Jake felt the adrenaline still humming through him. He stepped out, heart racing but mind clearer than ever. He had spoken his truth, and that alone was a victory. But as he met Emma and Hannah outside, ready to hear their reactions, an unexpected sound cut through the moment. A buzz from his phone, another message from his dad. Anxiety rippled through him once more. What did it say? Curious but anxious, he unlocked his phone, heart in his throat. What news awaited him? Would his father's message shift the course of everything, revealing uncertainties he hadn't yet faced? Jake's hand trembled as he stared at the screen. The message from his dad read simply, "I'm proud of you, son. Remember, your worth isn't tied to a paycheck." For a split second, Jake felt like a balloon losing air, the weight of expectations dropping into his gut. His dad's words had power, but they also hit him hard. Was this truly about his dream job, or was it about something deeper? He glanced up, seeing Emma and Hannah waiting for him, their faces eager yet calm. "Everything okay?" Emma asked gently. "Yeah, just a message," Jake replied, trying to shake off the heaviness. "You did amazing in there. I could practically see their interest from outside." Hannah jumped in, her excitement pouring over like confetti. Jake forced a smile, but his heart was still tangled in thought. Did it matter if he got the job? Deep down, he longed for validation, but also for peace. Just then, his phone buzzed again, this time a call from his mom. He hesitated, but decided to answer. "Hi, Mom," he said, trying to sound upbeat. "Jake, I just heard from your dad, and I wanted to tell you how proud we both are," she exclaimed, her joy infectious. "You've always been so driven. Just don't forget that it's not just about the job, it's about what makes you happy." The warmth in her voice swelled something inside him, but a lingering worry gnawed at him too. "Thanks, Mom. I guess I'm just trying to figure it all out," he admitted. "Listen, honey," she said softly, "life is full of choices. Choose the path that leads you toward what fills your heart, not just your wallet. You'll know what to do. Just trust yourself." He felt the knot in his chest easing. Maybe she was right. After hanging up, Jake turned to Emma and Hannah. "Okay, let's go for lunch. I could use a break." As they made their way down the sunlit sidewalk, he began to feel lighter. They settled into a cozy diner, laughter and chatter swirling around them like a warm embrace. Over burgers and fries, he shared highlights of the interview, the questions, the room, the unexpected depth. Emma's eyes sparkled as she encouraged him, and Hannah chimed in with her usual witty remarks. But amid the laughter, Jake felt a flutter of tension building within. What if the offer came and he was forced to weigh his dreams against his family again? Just as he was mulling it over, a notification pinged on his phone. He hesitated, then saw it was an email alert. With a racing heart, he opened it up. "Congratulations, Jake. We believe you're a great fit for our team." His breath caught in his throat. The familiar mix of exhilaration washed over him, but it was quickly shadowed by dread. "What's wrong?" Hannah asked, peering over his shoulder. "Got the offer, but isn't this what you wanted?" Emma chimed in, confusion etching her face. "I don't know. What if I have to sacrifice more than I bargained for?" The question hung in the air as all eyes fell on him, waiting for the answer he didn't quite have. "How do I decide between the life I dream of and the life I want for my family?" As the weight of his uncertainty settled within him, the diner's chatter faded into dull murmurs. What would he choose? Would he chase success at the cost of familial bonds? The tension felt electric, leaving him on the edge of a decision. What if saying yes meant saying goodbye to something he cherished? He glanced up at his friends, their faces filled with concern and anticipation, and just as he opened his mouth to speak, his phone buzzed again, this time showing another message from his dad. "Listen to your heart, Jake. The answer will become clear." Could that be the guiding light he needed? What would it mean for his future? With a heart full of questions and the weight of love upon him, Jake realized he was at a crossroads unlike any he had faced before. What would he ultimately choose? Jake's mind raced as he processed the offer, the flood of emotions swirling within him like a storm. There was the excitement of opportunity, yes, but also the crushing weight of expectation. He could almost hear the unseen clocks ticking, counting down to decision time. "Jake?" Emma's voice broke through his haze. "What are you thinking?" He looked at her, his heart aching with the need to share his turmoil. "I don't want to let anyone down, especially my parents. They've sacrificed so much for me, but this job, it feels like a dream, too." Hannah leaned closer, concern evident in her eyes. "What's the worst that could happen if you took it? You're still you, regardless of where you work." A flicker of doubt passed through him. Yet wasn't the dream job supposed to align with everything he valued? It was more than a paycheck. It was about fulfillment, right? He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his friend's gaze upon him. "I want to be happy, truly happy, not just on paper. All my life I've chased goals defined by others. What if this job isn't the answer?" Emma nodded slowly, her face thoughtful. "What if it connects you to the people you want to help, or the projects you're passionate about?" Jake felt a spark of hope. "But what if I lose sight of the things that matter most? Time with family, being present for my sister, my parents' dreams." The diner felt heavier now, the noise around them muffled, like they were in a bubble where only his worries swelled louder. "Maybe you can find a balance," Hannah suggested. "You don't have to abandon everything. Success can be on your terms." "Exactly," Emma beamed. "It's about creating a life that resonates with you, not what others expect. You know they'll support whatever you choose, right?" He nodded, more to reassure himself than anything else. "Yeah, of course. They just want what's best for me." Taking a moment, Jake glanced out the window toward the bustling street. Life moved on outside, blissfully unaware of the internal chaos he felt. He smirked at the families passing by, kids running after each other while parents laughed. He wanted that joy, the connection, the sense of family, not just in success, but in every step he took. With newfound urgency, he pulled out his phone and opened the email again. But before he replied, a thought struck him. What if I reached out to them? Would it be insane to talk to the team and ask them questions about the company culture, their values? Hannah's eyes widened with enthusiasm. "That's brilliant. It'll give you a better sense of whether it truly aligns with what you want. Plus," Emma added, "it might show them how invested you are.
They'll respect you for it." Jake felt the electricity of their support, sparking clarity as he typed a message to the hiring manager. It was bold, but for the first time, he was ready to advocate for himself, not just as a candidate, but as a person with dreams and values. His heart raced, and he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever happened next was going to define him in a way that went far beyond this job. "Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find out what this opportunity is truly about." Just before pressing send, he hesitated. A part of him wanted to ensure he'd made the right choice before taking this leap. His gaze shifted back to his friends, who were watching him with a mixture of pride and excitement. "What if I regret it, though?" he whispered, vulnerability creeping in again. "Regret is part of growth," Emma said softly, "but you gotta make this choice for yourself, not for anyone else." Her words pierced through the fog of his uncertainties. With a deep breath, Jake hit send. His phone buzzed almost instantly, a reply that promised a conversation about his questions. Suddenly, he felt invigorated. The uncertainty that had once threatened to consume him now transformed into a flicker of hope. But he knew this was just the beginning. As they finished their meals, a thought crept into his mind. What kind of commitment was this work going to demand from him? Was he ready for all that a new beginning entailed? With his phone still cool against his palm, Jake decided to embrace the journey ahead. The real decision wouldn't merely lie in whether to accept the offer, but in mastering how to merge his career ambitions with the values that were essential to him. As they stepped out into the vibrant summer afternoon, he glanced at Emma and Hannah, two shining stars guiding his path, and he smiled as an idea sparked. Maybe it's time for a family talk about all of this, to understand what I truly want. But as they walked down the sidewalk, something deep inside him wondered, could a moment of clarity ignite a spark of courage to redefine expectations? The journey ahead was still uncertain, but Jake felt ready to steer his own course, even if the road was rocky ahead. What other revelations awaited him in this adventure of self-discovery? Jake stood in the familiar setting of his garage, surrounded by the scent of motor oil and the echo of nostalgia. The weight of the past weeks settled comfortably on his shoulders. Emma pranced in animated circles, her laughter brightening the room more than any sunbeam could. It was all clearer now, a blend of love and ambition woven into each moment. The phone buzzed in his pocket, breaking through the warmth of the moment. He pulled it out, a new message from the hiring manager. Anxiety rippled through him as he opened it, but as he read the words, a smile crept onto his face. They wanted to welcome him on board, emphasizing how his genuine nature and compassion shone during the interview. This new chapter would merge perfectly with the father who taught him strength and the daughter who looked at him with unwavering trust. The choice he had been wrestling with now felt like an embrace of who he was and who he could become. Emma rushed over, her eyes wide with excitement. "Did you get something?" "Yeah, I got the job," he replied, almost in disbelief. "Yay! Can I be the first one to tell everyone?" She bounced on her toes, overflowing with joy. "Of course," Jake chuckled, realizing the true weight of it all. This wasn't just a win for him, but for Emma, too. They were in this together. He paused, thinking about his dad. This job meant he could help provide for their family while still being there for his father, picking up the pieces despite the shadows lingering in the background. He hadn't abandoned the ones he loved. He had chosen to expand that love even further. "Daddy," Emma pulled him from his thoughts. "What's next?" "Next?" He grinned wide. "Next, we embrace all that's to come. I want us to have a family gathering soon and talk about our dreams together." He looked at Emma and felt the warmth of that family bond. Because it's all about choosing both, right? Our individual dreams and our family. Emma beamed, her enthusiasm infectious. "Can we have pie, too? You know Grandma makes the best apple pie."
Absolutely. I'll call her right away. As he looked around the garage, nostalgia washed over him, but so did motivation. The dreams once tangled in his mind now freed themselves, buoyed by love and purpose. He pulled out his phone, ready to dial. "Hey, Mom, can you come over? I've got some news." "I'll bake a pie," she exclaimed, and he could hear the smile in her voice. With that, the portal of opportunity burst wide open. Jake grasped it tightly, buoyed by the realization that he was not alone on this journey. He carried his family within him, their hopes and dreams echoing in his heart. As the day unfolded, he glanced around again, taking in the little things. The miniature ballet slippers Emma had left strewn across the floor, the half-finished projects in the garage, and the sound of laughter cascading from the living room. There was magic in the ordinary, a rhythm of life that intertwined their moments together. "I'm ready for this new adventure," he whispered, feeling the surge of hope flow through him. Because life was never about the money, it was about connection, love, and the beautifully intricate chaos of family. These were the moments that mattered, the milestones of joy, and Jake was ready to grasp each one anew. With passion igniting within him, he felt grounded, ready to cherish every twist and turn this journey would bring. Together with Emma, his father, and his entire community, he would walk into the world with open arms, ready to create something new. This was the moment where dreams wove seamlessly into the fabric of reality. A fresh, exhilarating path lay ahead. Now you need to subscribe to this channel immediately so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, and please share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. We love sharing inspiration together. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support means everything.